Hi, everybody. Thanks, Melissa, for letting me in.
You're welcome.
Let me fix my name here again.
Hey, Adrian,
Yes.
it's me, Greg here.
Okay, but everybody hears you, you know?
Okay, good. I still hear you.
Hi, Melissa.
Hello, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Bethany, how are you?
Okay, how's everyone doing?
Oh, just wonderful.
Good.
Liar.
Hi, John.
Yeah, Bill.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, Tom.
Well, Mr. Mall.
Hey, Bill.
John, that government meeting on Friday, one of the things the state's going to propose is to eliminate sales tax to restaurants for a while.
I don't have any sales.
Restaurants were the main topic of conversation at that government meeting.
They should give us video gaming terminals, AKA slot machines.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Pat.
Hey, Pat.
Melissa, can we identify when somebody comes only over the phone, figure out who that is? Can they identify themselves? I don't know if that's possible. I think there's nothing here other than the phone number.
Hey. All right. I got 12 o'clock from my grandfather's clock. And if so, we'll call the meeting of the Fire and Police Committee to order. And Melissa, can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Bill Jenks,
Here.
and Tom Mull,
Here.
and Tom Boucher. Fred Levering.
Here.
And John Woodward,
Here.
and Keith Durr.
Here.
Okay. Is Tom Boucher, is he going to be here?
Yeah, he showed up. He was muted though.
Oh, okay. All righty. Do we have any public comments?
Certainly
Yes.
do. Yeah, go ahead, Greg, if you want to go first.
Yeah, a year ago, I remember the chairman of this commission told that Wyomissing is the best place to live at. And yes, probably for him, but I have a my neighbor whose name is John Cullen. So he thinks it's also the best place to live in. So he bought a dog now, a small puppy. And now he's training this dog to actually defecate in front of my house. 3 feet of my entrance path. He's bringing this dog. He's informed that it is not allowed by ordinance of the borough, chapter 2. And the fine is up to $600. I sent him a mail. I on camera told him about it. So what he did, he brought his dog, he let it defecate, he brought it directly from his house. Then he pretended to pick up everything, dropped back, covered with grass, and rubbed into the pavement. This was under the camera. It's all recorded. The video was emailed to the borough. The police was called, the police arrived, and the person, the policewoman, did not want to get out of the vehicle, didn't want to look at what was left on the pavement. And just in the blotter report, it was mentioned, oh, somebody like came, the dog defecated, and he picked up the feces and left. That's it, no problem. It's wrong. It's wrong action. The police had to collect evidence. I had to collect it after it on camera. I have 2 bags of evidence, and this is violation of chapter 2 of the borough ordinance, which the police doesn't know at all. It's about animals in the borough. Then it's violation of chapter 6 of the borough conduct, which tells nobody is allowed to litter in the street, and the penalty is up to $600, the same. And chapter 20, solid waste. Nobody is allowed to place any waste in the street. Probably the police doesn't know anything about it, so it's all fine. It's not the way of life we want to live in Wyomissing. Mr. Jenkins, you are supervising the police here. I want to be happy living here too, not only you. Please take care of the police, educate the police, and tell them to do their duties. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other public comments?
Yes, I have one too. So, my complaint is related to what Greg just said. And so I wish to complain, however, about the continued preferential treatment of our police force towards our neighbors, Mr. Cullen and Mrs. Denera. Over and over, our officers continue to misrepresent our complaints in order to justify their inaction. Our emails requesting corrections of police reports remain unanswered by officers and Chief/Lieutenant ND alike. Police goes as far as telling falsehoods, even on video camera. They refuse to gather evidence even when it's in front of them. We have been victims of ethnic hate and intimidation through various acts of harassment by Cullen Denaro for more than 7 years now. Hundreds of instances in which our police has done nothing to curb this situation, on the contrary, they have encouraged it by going as far as burying reports of criminal acts. Then there's the biggest monument of preferential treatment for ethnic hate, which are the 2 no parking signs awarding to Cullen Denaro for successfully harassing their immigrant neighbors for 7 years and counting, which you all voted unanimously on them. Shame on you. These acts continue to this day in the most disgusting fashion. And I'm not going to touch on some things that Greg already said. On August 14, 2020 at 2016, 8 p.m., security footage shows Mr. Cullen picking his dog up in his arms while in front of his front yard, then walking uphill around 200 feet, crossing the street to the edge of our garage driveway, and depositing the dog to defecate and urinate. It was not like he was walking his dog. He just placed it there at the corner driveway to do its business. After the dog is done, Mr. Cullen walks it slowly back home. So again, it wasn't like somebody was walking dogs around the neighborhood and it happened, he pooped. So security footage is available, Lieutenant Endy. On August 17th, same situation, picks up again. This time I was backing up my car, so he pretends he walks away. So I'm not gonna touch this one. Same thing, security footage shows he doing the same at Greg's house, walking to Greg's driveway, defecate, urinate in front of it, and Greg is seen confronting Mr. Cullen's actions, asking him to stop this practice and go away, visibly asking him to go away. At this point, Mr. Cullen sits down in front of Greg's driveway and starts playing with the dog. On August 4th, this is the situation that Greg talked about. Security footage as well as my smartphone and me, I personally witnessed the situation when Mr. Cullen again walks his dog to Greg's front entry and lets him poop right there. It's visible. And by the way, Mr. Cullen was very careful to shield himself from one of my security cameras, but he did not know that I was filming him on my smartphone. So after that is him clearly picking up, not only on camera, but I witnessed it. He pretends picks up, then selects a piece, puts it back on the ground, takes the other one and then puts some grass and start rubbing it in the ground. Since Greg wasn't home, I called the police. So Officer Ney shows up. I asked her, here's the evidence, here's the video, evidence in front of you. No, I don't want to pick up the dog poop. I said, well, the evidence is there. So we don't want to pick up the evidence because it's dog poop. So what? So if somebody is killed, you're not going to pick up the evidence because it's gross? You're cops. Also, she doesn't know what harassment means. She states that harassment is a repeat of a criminal act. No, it's not. I don't know who trains these guys. It's not a repeat of criminal act. This is a repeat of a nuisance with no legitimate purpose. This Mr. Cullen was at the fourth time he was told not to do this again.
Okay, thank you,
And
Mr.
I'm
Jady.
not done. I have one. I'm sorry. This is serious. Please, it's 2 seconds. I'm done. And then she goes ahead and misrepresents everything that we discussed in her police report. This is important. This has been going for 7 years. Police whitewashing, writing in the police report something completely different than what the complaint was about. On August 24th, 2020, the same thing. Security shows Mr. Cullen doing the same thing. Greg walks alongside the curb to prevent him from letting the dog poop there. We call the police. This time, Sergeant Purcell comes, again refusing to do anything, going as far as saying on camera, because I filmed him this time, that there is no such thing as loitering. So not an officer, a sergeant does not know the Pennsylvania law. It's paragraph 5506. And he states there is no such thing as loitering in Pennsylvania law.
Okay, Mr. Jake, I'm going to have to ask you to wrap this up, please.
I am wrapping up. So this continues to this day. Either these officers are not trained, or as far as I can see, they willingly do not. They just whitewash over the reports. They pretend there is nothing just to protect
Hey,
these people.
Mr. Jake, I have to stop you here. We need to move on. So
Sure.
we get your point. Thank you very much for your comments. Are there any other public comments? If no other public comments, we will move forward to the fire department report. Chief.
Good afternoon. For August to date, there was 141 responses consisting of 18 fires, 49 medical or motor vehicle accidents, 15 hazardous conditions, 59 alarm activations. Total responses in the borough, 95, outside of the borough, 46. No fire damage for the month of August. Our average turnout is 5 personnel. There were 7 volunteer responses, and we're up to 1,000 calls so far for the year. For the expanded July report, there was 234 responses system-wide. There was no fire damage for the borough of Wyomissing. We gave aid 47 times. We received aid 51 times. We had 69 overlapping calls. Our dispatch to en route time was 1 minute 54 seconds, and dispatch to on scene was 7 minutes and 1 second. We gave aid to Mount Penn Borough 1 time, Laureldale Borough 1 time, Western Berks Fire Department 17 times, Leesport on Olney Township 3, Greenfields Burn Township 6, Moton 2, West Reading 4, Muhlenberg Township 5, Kenhurst Borough 1, Cumru Township 5, and the City of Reading 2 times.
Okay, is that all, Colin?
I have one other informational point. We were just notified that we were awarded the regional FEMA grant for 2019. I believe we're going to be awarded $46,903.64. Our proposed regional grant was for $51,594. Specifically for the Wyomissing station, that would be a gear extractor washing machine with the installation included, 2 thermal imaging cameras, and 2 positive pressure battery powered ventilation fans.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, nice.
That's all I have unless anybody has any questions.
Anybody have any questions of Colin? I have one, Colin.
Okay.
The motor inn.
Mhm.
Why don't we build a station over there?
Well, yeah, it's a difficult situation. We're actually getting progress over there. We really, well, they're gonna feel it for the 3rd quarter because they're gonna get hellacious fire alarm fine for all the false alarms we have. They are working diligently. We were going there with multiple troubles on the panel. The problem is their clientele that they have there are pulling the detectors down in the room to smoke. And so that's creating trouble alarms. And then they're trying to mask steam from the shower to take the smoking away. They've gotten that pretty straightened out, and they started kicking people out and I guess fining them internally for these violations because they know that off the top of my head, I think they probably had about close to 20 false alarms there at $200 a pop. So once we get that filled out at the end of the month here, that'll be submitted to the borough that they can bill them accordingly.
Well, that was my next question. Good, because, you know, every time the tones go up and I look at my phone, you know, at least once a day, it's the motor in again. So,
It's a shame. That used to be a really predominant place and it really kind of went downhill.
yes, it did. Okay, Colin, thank you. Anybody have any other questions for Colin? Okay, we'll move on to Western Berks. Tony.
Good afternoon, everyone. So for July of 2020, we responded to 258 calls for service for a total year-to-date of 1,589. Of those 258, 196 were transported, 26 people refused, 2 were standbys, 30 were canceled, and 4 were for assist calls. Continue to transport about 85%, 90% to Reading Hospital. We continue to be under our dispatch to responding in under 1 minute and 10 seconds, and our average scene time is 13 minutes and 28 seconds, well below our 16-minute goal of what we have. Of that breakdown, and I know you like to see the breakdown of the 258, 104 of those calls were ALS, 118 were BLS, 29 were downgrade, 19 of those calls were from the Highlands, and 18 of those calls were from Country Meadows. We continue to work with COVID with the Berks EMS County COVID Task Force. We continue to talk to all of our senators and House of Representatives over the hazard pay grant that EMS and fire were left out completely as frontline workers, kind of taking a slap in the face of that. So we continue to work on them and see what we can do there and try to work on this. The other thing is again, there is CARES money out there for municipalities to go out and get. If there's possibility that you guys can get some CARES money, just remember to remember EMS in that.
Well, I asked a question on the that government meeting last Friday morning, and about what was going to happen with the other $1 million that Wolf had in reserve for that.
The 1 billion, yeah.
And my question was never raised to the panel, so.
Yeah, we've kind of gotten that. We've gotten nothing from the governor's office. We've talked to Argyle, we've talked to Schwenk, we talked to Cox, Gillen, all of them, and you know, all of them. We understand that none of them had anything to do in that, but you know, out of all of this, the 2 bills that went out, and this is nothing anything on Colin or any of the fire departments, but the governor allocated $50 million for this hazard pay, and we got nothing of it. And then they allocated another $50 million for emergency services and gave fire 44 of it, and only gave EMS 6 when we were responding to 99% of the calls. Some of our fire departments did respond to a lot of them, and they deserve some of that. But, you know, it turns around that EMS needs to be funded in a way that it's actually in a way that's actually sustainable. They anticipate at least a 20% drop of EMS agencies across the state in the next year. Not us, we are in good shape, but you know, we're going to start to see that go across the board.
Well, hopefully Wolf will do something, help you guys out. So it's certainly, you know, deservable.
The interesting thing is there's a new, allergies. Just wanted to make sure I got that with the sneeze. There's a Senate bill that was just introduced, Senate Bill 1274, which might make some things interesting going down the road. This Senate bill will allow counties to create public safety projects or public safety authorities within their county, bypassing municipalities, thus creating a public safety authority and going that route. So this ought to be interesting to see what happens there. So the county could step in and do their own fire department or EMS department and then turn around and get it from the municipalities somehow that way. So we'll see what happens there.
When's that up for a vote?
That just came out on the 24th. It was referred to Veterans Affairs Emergency Preparedness. So
Okay.
it's going to be an interesting thing there.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Tony? Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. And on to the police department, Lieutenant Endy.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Tom.
How are you? Points of information, line painting. I just spoke with the contractor last week. Line painting should commence either the end of this week or the beginning of next week based on the upcoming Labor Day weekend. But he thought it'd be about a day or two that they'd be able to fit that in here. So we'll wait and see for later this week or after the holiday. Fitzy's Run application, I've circulated through the executive staff here. And I would ask you to recommend it for approval for council for October the 25th, 2020. It's the annual Fitzy's Halloween 5K. Mr. Fitzgerald sent it to me with the caution of realizing that it's CDC guideline based, and also the fact that it might not happen at all, but if he doesn't have the application in and approves it, then it can't happen. So he just wants to have that in his pocket in case they're allowed to have such an event. I'm sorry.
Hold on a minute, Tom. Okay, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the Fitzy's Run?
Yes. So moved. Second.
Motion by Tom Boucher, second by Tom Mall. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it. We'll move that on to council.
Thank you. In response to the comment about the hotel incidents at the hotel, I've already started a comparison chart for the monthly report for August, because not only is the fire department going there, but the police department has been busy at hotels through COVID, through longer term rentals and other activities at those locations. So I've put a comparison chart together to show the first 8 months of 2019 and the first 8 months of 2020 in comparison. So that'll be out on the council report when I finish that for the 3rd of September. Updating or recognizing a traffic complaint from the 1400 block of Penn Avenue in regards to a request to put in crosswalk or the alike there in the area of Penn Avenue and Forest at Do-si-Do. We just completed a traffic study there where 85% of the cars are traveling 37.63 miles in the 30-mile-an-hour zone, which is going to be right on the bubble of us being able to enforce that based on the allowances of the speed timing devices allowed by municipal police in Pennsylvania. Something we'll monitor and be aware of. If nothing else, somebody sitting there will allow that, will provide some people to slow down and be aware of the area, as we do in the school zones and the like. So we will have, our sergeants have been updated on that, and we'll be out in that area.
Is it just me, or are we getting an uptick of accident calls at Penn and Forest lately?
I can double check that. I'm not seeing an uptick of calls there. That caught my attention. Let me look into it, and I'll get back to you.
You know, we've had, as you know, complaints there and so forth, and
right.
It's a high pedestrian area, and I know it's a state road also, but it just seems to me like I'm seeing more and more, reports at Penn and Forest.
I haven't taken notice of that, so I have not seen it, but if you're going to be on here for a little bit, I'll be happy to look at it while you guys are still on. If not, I'll be happy to email you the data. To let you know
it doesn't have to be now.
I'll check back for the last 8 months around the same time I'm looking at the hotel stuff.
Okay, great.
And I'll let anybody have any questions or concerns, anything for the police department.
Anything else for Lieutenant? Okay, thank you. Okay, before we go into executive session to discuss personnel matters, does anyone have any other business to be brought before the committee?
Mr. Jenks, if you have 1 second, I have one item for you.
Yes, Pat.
At previous meetings, it was discussed about the juveniles and people swimming in the creek, and also in the area of the meadows, vehicles and so forth down there. Those areas have now been posted. They've also been posted in Spanish to enforce the parks and code. And also the police department has done a good job of checking those areas and making sure that the people are compliant. So the signs are in place, and we're doing the best we can.
Great. Okay, thanks, Pat, for the update on that. Okay, at this time, we're going to adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel matters. I'm not sure the time frame involved. Does anyone wish to be called back as we've done in the past?
Yeah, sure, please. Melissa knows, just text me.
Okay, I'm going to guess, just an estimate, Mr. Jadik, of about maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
That's fine. That's good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Jack, I'll be here in the office if you need something. I mean, if you need to call me back, that's fine, but I'll be in the office.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll move to executive session.
Okay, thanks for letting me in. Thanks, Melissa, for texting me.
You're welcome.
All righty. We'll re-adjourn the public segment of the Fire and Police Committee. The committee met in executive session to discuss personnel matters. Does anybody have anything else they wish to bring before this committee today?
We're good.
If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, one and all.
Have a good one. Thank you.